could possibly go wrong.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that corner, when we get done with that,
Hey, guys.
spend a minute.
Staircase, treads, $700. Where's that?
Close enough.
Not quite. Close enough. Calling me to order, we do have sworn to stand and pledge allegiance on a prayer if you choose to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty God, we respectfully request your guidance in each and every decision and the words we speak and the things we feel in our heart and our mind, and we ask that you bless us, and we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. If you have an sign in out front, please do so. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes of June the 9th.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Move the second, those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion carries. Drain maintenance, $31,702.
Move for approval.
I'll second it. It's moved and seconded. Further discussion? Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And none opposed, motion carries. Acceptance of the auditor's report.
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And none opposed, motion carries. Mr. Steerball. Dave Gaston.
We've got a couple, we got a couple,
Seal quotes?
so
Yeah.
quotes. Why don't
You do those first? Okay.
Open those for me.
These are for the Auburn Meadows Estates project. The first one we received is from Beechwood Construction. In the amount of $85,000. The second one we received is from Moraine. In the amount of $65,500.
I'd like to take those under consideration
Sure.
and review those.
That's fine. All the way stuff, somebody is.
That's
You
it.
ready for John now, Dave?
Yeah, I was just gonna bring it up. Yeah, John, ladies and gentlemen, John Ayers.
That's auspicious. I'm suspicious. I'm sorry, I'd have been up here earlier. I didn't know you guys were gonna rip through the agenda. No. So I didn't know, you wanted to, this is about the Ronald Reagan Parkway up there. I didn't know if you guys had specific questions. I know there was some discussion at the last meeting and I wasn't here. I can give you an update on where we are, I think, with the tile stuff right now, best I understand it. Okay, all right. So, we've got two crossings on the parkway. One's about here, one's about down here. We've had to kind of stage our work because of the sanitary sewer going in on the east side. We have the concrete pipe for the southern crossing in, but we don't have it extended out all the way yet because of the sanitary sewer line is so deep. We don't want to get very close to them. So we got concrete pipe in a certain distance, then we got plastic pipe out the rest of the way to make the connection. And then after the sewer goes through, then we'll finish that with concrete. The northern piece, the connection actually goes, the tile actually runs underneath a box, an cast in place box. And we're gonna have to replace that. We're gonna replace that box because they can't run that tile with that box in place. So we gotta take that out. But again, that's gotta wait till the sanitary sewer is through there. But then that comes back over and connects right in here. So we had that unconnected at one point and that didn't work very well. So we reconnected it back with temporarily. And then after the sanitary goes up through there, then we'll take that box out, put the pipe in across, and then put the box back. What we're finding down here is the alignment of the new crossing is a straight line, and the old pipe kind of goes like this, kind of close to it, but not with it. And they're not connected to a structure on the downstream side yet. I don't think there's not a manhole there. But what we're seeing is there's still water coming through the old one. So there's probably tiles that connect to it up underneath where the parkway is going to be. So we're going to dig that up and replace that with a new piece just to get whatever's intersecting it between where we picked it up on the west side and where we're gonna connect on the east side. So there's some tiles in there someplace that are still feeding it because there's still water coming out. So, I mean, we don't want to cut any of those off. So, but we're confident with our connection to the downstream. I don't know if Dirk's here, but we dye tested and it did show up coming into the outlet where it outlets down there in the bats. So we're confident we have it connected to the right thing. So I didn't know if you'd seen other issues or something else I need to be aware of.
Well, there was a little 4 running out in your ditch, and it was pumping like a fire hose, and then there was one bubbling up about 2 feet out of the bottom of the ditch. And I don't know, I think that was down the line. I don't.
In the side ditch or which?
Down in the ditch that was cut. So I don't know if they figured out what those are.
How far down, do you know? Do you remember?
After their first steel plate, someplace down in there.
Okay.
They're still pumping.
Did you see the tile or just see the water coming
To
out?
see the water. It's deeper than, it was, obviously the top cut out of it.
Okay.
John, we had a discussion in our business meeting, Dave brought it up, something that Jack has mentioned before. Dave, we're increasing the size of the Kate Lee, where the AES or whoever's gonna do that. Okay, to extend that, whose responsibility is it then to increase that size to make it appropriate?
It's gonna probably be us, drainage board.
But then we do it through GDIF?
And
How much, whose ground are we gonna be on doing this?
through, you mean through AES or south of AES?
South of AES.
Most of it's gonna probably be in right of way,
Oh, okay, all right.
I think. Yeah, we've got a regulated drainage easement already.
Okay,
Of
okay,
150 feet, or it's gonna be in the right of way. Either way, it's gonna be us.
okay. And are you and the engineering around it taking consideration, okay, there's gonna be an increased volume possibly, so
I don't,
metaphorically, if you got a
I don't
8-inch
remember
pipe or you got a
size,
12-inch pipe.
what size we're putting that back with. I don't remember right now.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you after today
Okay.
about the sizing and what you've got, because the drainage board
So
in
you're
our
looking at
business
upsizing.
meeting thought about upsizing.
And we need, John, the only thing, we were talking that, as Danny said, it's probably imperative that we kind of move more quickly rather than slowly to make sure it gets designed.
Yeah, because we've already got some of that in. We've already got Southern Crossing in. And
What
there
size
is-
is the southern crossing? I didn't get it.
And this is going south, right?
It's the first crossing here is, it came up and now they've cut the road coming
Right.
towards the Reagan. And they installed a pipe. I wasn't sure what size.
We've got that Southern pipe in. I don't remember either. Hang on a second.
So in other words, whatever pipe's installed now, it needs to be a bigger pipe that it's going into.
15-inch.
It's only 15. We got 18 coming out of the ditch, supposedly.
Well, I don't have my glasses on. That's what it looks like.
Wow,
That's what we submitted for design.
that's what was there.
Well,
Well, then,
15
if
into
it's
RCP.
15 there,
Yes.
and it needs to be feeding into a pipe bigger than that, doesn't it?
It is, it's coming 18 out of the bats, but it's a lot flatter because
You're losing.
of the pond there.
Well,
this is what this is
Right.
what you guys approved.
well, and
15.
you replaced it at size.
Right.
That's what was approved.
Right.
So, do you want,
Well,
drainage board, do you want to for John and I to do it, or you want to look for outside engineers to look to design it?
Well, you
I'd
got-
have a third party look at it just for your own benefit, right? I mean, if we think it's necessary, have a third
do
party
it.
confirm that it will.
I
hold
mean,
the
we
bill.
size it during the design processes. I
Sure.
mean, we did the initial hydraulic design,
Right.
structure point, final design with United and Lockmuir. And I mean,
If everybody's
we went through-
comfortable
we went
with
through all
it.
the approvals, and Christopher Burke looked at it. So
I'm not an engineer, I'm gonna
Right.
take your
Right.
word of
I
value.
mean, it was kind of to match existing, I think, because there's, we're replacing where we cross the road, but we're not replacing this out there here. So I don't know what that is. Is that 15 out there?
Probably.
So I mean, it was
Yes.
probably, everybody's thought process was to just replace what's there.
And it's not flowing great, it's not in great shape.
Right.
That's part of the problem.
Right.
Even if we replaced it with the same size with new pipe, it's gonna flow better.
Right.
That would help.
Shouldn't we do that then?
There was no plans to replace it as it, and, to make it new before the Reagan sits over top.
Not as part of the Reagan project.
Not as part of the
Right.
Reagan
We
project.
talked about it, I think, but.
Well, maybe we need to consider doing
Kate
that
Lee's
then.
been replaced within the last 5 to 7 years. It's brand new plastic.
In the area we're talking about?
Yeah, and from where it crosses all the way around, and then it crosses under, goes west and comes back under, all that's been replaced at one time, and then they replaced it with concrete pipe. That's where it got all fouled up because they had it off direction and flooded everything to the north. But John, my concern is when you get up into that flat area north, you're gonna be dumping your side ditch into that Kate Lee that's tremendously undersized up there, because that's only like clay.
No, I don't think the
16.
intention isn't for the side ditches to go into the KP.
How are you gonna get that water south? Because there's no way in that flat spot up there. Because I think Joe told me that they're gonna use that crossing that I have as an 18 underneath that road that's gonna have to be replaced with an 18 concrete. They're gonna use that for a dump. On one of your structures out there, between number and number, they're gonna use that tile for a dump site, for your side ditch, because there's no way in the world you're gonna get that south.
I'd have to look at the plans, but typically I don't like to dump side ditches into tiles.
Well, I think you better look.
Well, if you don't
because-
like it, John, then, if you don't, and we've approved, if you don't like the way it's done, John, then you can make a recommendation to change
Because
something.
they're gonna
Yeah, I-
have to put about 8 to 12 feet fill down there to even make a side ditch.
I mean, we can sit down and look at the plans, Jack, and talk about the specific locations, but typically I don't like to put surface water into tiles. And certainly not into the Kate Lee, so, and I know the crossing you're talking about, and I've talked to Joe about it, and what we need to do there. But the side ditches work. I've spent some time with the plans, but I believe the side ditches work without using that tile.
Okay.
Well, is there any of this tile sizing impacted by retention and detention, slowing the water down, getting into the pipe?
We don't have any retention up there.
Well, and typically that doesn't apply to subsurface drainage anyway. Retention applies to surface drainage, so, I mean, field tiles and, perforated tile and legal, subsurface drainage isn't really affected by the detention.
Then there again, with the surface, you're putting a dam across there. What are we gonna do with that?
Don't know what you mean.
Flow
Dam meaning the road.
the road.
That's what the side ditches do. Side ditches pick up the water coming from the west or coming from whichever direction.
So
And
the
then drain
side
it off.
ditches are gonna be at grade.
Side ditches are below grade. Not very much in some places, but they're below grade, otherwise they don't work. You can look at the plans, I can look at
I'm not an
them.
engineer, so I've just lived 70 years out there, and
The ditches are below grade, that's why they're ditches, so they're gonna catch the surface flow. The road's not, we don't design roads to block flow. Anything coming through, we pick up and take care of.
Okay.
You guys have reviewed the plans, Christopher Burke has reviewed the plans, we've been working on this for 9 years. So you guys have seen the design.
Yeah, I've seen construction too, and it's been completely messed up.
And the
So-
construction conforms with what the plans show.
I can tell Dave, plans are fine, but planning's something totally different. You're not planning for something out of the ordinary. Numbers are great until they get on site and they don't work. You have to be fluid with what you're doing, and so far I have not seen it.
Well, let's see how it goes.
I hope you're right, John.
Anything else?
John, is it worthwhile to relook at that or not?
No, they got their plan.
I know they've got the plan, but would it be worthwhile to just relook at that?
I'll review and make sure I'll make sure two things. One is that we're not putting surface water in subsurface drainage. And second is to make sure that the ditches work on their own. Okay, and again, this has been a long time in the making, so I'm pretty confident that it's gonna work as much as, that's a flat area, so.
Because it's gone all the way up, so.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as changing the size of the Kate Lee tile, if we're gonna do that, we can talk about it soon, because we've already got some of the pipe in the ground. So if that was something that was in the works, we should have talked about that about 5 years ago. So, not that it can't be done now. We've got the southern crossing in, we don't have the northern crossing in yet, so it's possible that could be upsized if we need to. We got part of the southern crossing. So if we need to do that, we need to talk about it now, and how we're gonna pay to remove that and put new back.
Right, because it would be a pretty expensive change.
It would.
The cost to repair is gonna be expensive.
Well, I think the drainage board,
That too, yeah.
my humble opinion is the drainage board needs to enable Dave to work with John. So if we need to use GDIF money to improve that Kate Lee, then, and that's not part of the parkway
Right.
at all, we need to be doing that. As Denny said, we need to be doing it.
So do we need to put, or vote for next meeting that, we have this reviewed and we go over it, what these concerns are? We review, have John review this northern part that we're concerned that there may be some surface drainage going into subsurface drainage. And then to have all this cleared up.
Would that help? Not imposing on John, but imposing on Dave more to come up with a plan. Can you do that, Dave, in a couple of weeks? Or at whatever time it is before the next meeting?
We can sure try. We can try.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about
Well,
it.
then-
and
We'll see the implications.
We'll come up with a
Let it be
concept.
recorded in a consensus of the board that Dave will come up with a plan at the next drainage board meeting to
Alleviate some concerns.
alleviate concerns on the Kate Lee, however we do it. And I think that's a good point, Michael, that there's consensus from the board to use GDIF to improve that drain while it, as Denny said, as soon as we can. So,
And John, I would say I'm the least knowledgeable one up here of all this stuff, but please understand, I don't think anyone's questioning your knowledge
No.
or expertise at all. And we trust you explicitly.
And I understand concerns to make sure it's gonna work, and understand we got, it doesn't take much to mess it up there because it is so flat. So it doesn't take much in one place to really mess up drainage somewhere else. But we spend an awful lot of time in designing this portion, and it's close. The grades are close.
Right.
And ditches are fairly flat, but there are ditches, and I'm pretty confident in the design that we've done that it's gonna work as good as anything can.
and I've always said what Jack just said. You need to be agile enough out there. If you see something, just you can call me and I can pull the board. If we need to do something, we need to do it.
And we are, I think we are, and like I've said before, and like I say on all our projects, and we tell all our contractors, if you come across a tile we don't have shown on the plans, perpetuate it, do something, call somebody, don't cover it over, don't cap it off, don't pretend it's not there. And we know, we always run into those no matter where we are. I was on a culvert yesterday down by Coatesville, so we're running into stuff down there we didn't anticipate, so we pick it up in the field. Same thing on this job, and on this job, we've got undistributed quantities of tile and other stuff that we can use when they encounter something unexpected. So, and our project supervisor, inspectors on the ball, Banning's up there too, watching things, so, you know, we're gonna encounter things we didn't anticipate and that aren't on the plans. But I think we're reacting to them properly and taking care of things as we come across them.
Well,
And-
John-
And we knew we knew that was gonna happen. It always
Just
does.
for the record, the inspecting engineers, which I totally have confidence in, are they or they're designee there every day?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, they're
good,
full-time.
good, because you
Banning's
gotta
there
be there
full-time.
all the
Well,
time.
United's there full-time, yeah. I mean,
Good, all right.
Several of them are. I can show you the bills.
We see them. They
Yeah,
come
you see
through
them.
claims, yeah.
Okay, does anyone in the audience has anything to bring forward for the drainage board?
There is some drainage that goes into the Quinn's ditch. from
Who
the
are
IT.
you? Who are you?
Nobody that's been around for about 40 years up there.
It's Mike Roberts.
Yes, there is water that comes out of the southwest end of the I-2.
Hang on a minute. Gotta have, Mike, give your address, because we gotta have this on the record.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Mike Roberts, 7365 North, 850 East, Brown Creek. Okay?
Okay. You probably ought to step up here, Mike, if you really have something that we need to hear, because it's gotta be recorded.
Well, being out there for the last 30 years, John knows I pretty much see all the drainage situations out there. I'm always here to address it, to make sure that Reed Estates and all of our area doesn't get pulverized when this new I-2 project starts, and the Hessian project that starts just to the east of me. There is water that does dump into the Quinn's Ditch from the I-2. And there was a change many years back, I think Gary Maloney, I think, redesigned that ditch. So some of that area of the I-2 drains down across the 750, under 750, underneath the culvert under the railroad track, and then surfacely drains into the Quinn's Ditch. Now, the Quinn's was broken at one time when the pipeline came through, and that was just recently in the last couple of years. I took some pictures, I called Dave came over and they put new line in. So it is still an active line. There's not a whole lot, but I would say maybe 15 or 20 acres, maybe even more than that, maybe somewhere around probably 30 or 40 acres of that southwest corner of the I-2 drains now under 750, underneath, by the railroad track, through the culvert, goes in and then drops into the Quinn's Ditch via your orange pipe. So the water fills up there and it drops in, and then it goes to the retention ponds to the south.
You familiar with this, David?
Yeah,
All
he
right.
is. Yeah.
Mike, you have to remember that anything from the railroad right away across underneath the railroad and
Yes,
north
yeah.
has all been vacated. 99% of that has been recaptured and it goes east toward the Ronald Reagan.
I would say you're probably right on that. You probably know that, but I can say right now,
I helped Bart Senior put that in.
right, this was replaced right here. Because when they came through with a pipeline, they broke it.
Well, no, they actually saw that it was capped off. It had been capped for years. When
Where,
when
north of
dug through-
750?
Yeah, the workers said it was capped off, and they did replace it and connect it, but it was, the last time the pipeline company came through there, they plugged the tile on both sides.
You're kidding. Who's above who here? Pipeline above?
Pipeline, they're almost level with each other, so they just plugged it off.
That's why there was no drainage and that's why it got redesigned and went east.
I guess the pipeline doesn't have the inspectors on site.
Shame on them.
They just blow it, go.
But anyway, That
The guys that worked on it.
mostly is a non-issue.
Yeah, well, in this area right here, where the Hessian area is, this whole area here drains right down and in.
And that'll probably be fixed once it gets to build.
Right, and that's the only reason I'm here, is to make sure that when the new I-2 stuff starts and then when the Hessian development starts, that no more comes to the Quinn and no more goes to the Mary Gibbs.
You guys will be seeing this project July 14th here. And all of this is gonna go down to this pond, which outlets along the railroad. They're not taking any new water to the Quinn. I've already told them they can't, and they're not going to.
Okay,
So you're gonna see that in a couple weeks.
okay.
So Dave, go back over this way,
Okay.
so we can. Yeah, so is that the wrong rig in there?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah.
St. Malachy's right there?
No, that's.
Well, that's a house.
This is St. Malachi over
Oh,
here.
over there, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, that helps.
All right, all right, thank you.
This is the baseball diamond
Yeah,
and the
right.
soccer field that's gonna be
Right.
happening.
Yep.
Okay, is that
That's
it, Mike?
Yeah.
Anything
Thank you
else?
very much.
Sure. Does any of the board members have anything to bring before the board before we adjourn? Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moving second, those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Aye, none opposed, meeting's adjourned. All right.
Yeah. Let's go.
We're good.
It's not green.
Which one's ours?
Well, what about that one?
That picks up the audience, so we don't turn it on.
I'll call our commissioners' meeting to order for June 23. Please join us in a pledge of allegiance to the flag and a word of prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we pause and thank you for another beautiful day you've given us. Thank you for each of us that are gathered in this room. Help us as commissioners to make wise decisions for the people of Hendricks County. Give us your grace this day. We thank you for the decisions we will make today that affect the lives of the people in Hendricks County. We thank you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all for your presence, the ones that I'm physically looking at, and those of you that are online watching, thank you for joining us that way as well. Appreciate everyone being here. Here would entertain a motion to approve the claims that were sent to us.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Unfinished business. John Ayers, the restated amendment, and this is between Plainfield, NDOT, and the county.
Correct. We talked about this 2 weeks ago, and you wanted to table it because it was not clear what the transfer date of the bridges
Right.
would be. I had a meeting with Plainfield and NDOT the next day, and their attorney agreed that wording was wrong. And so they changed the wording to state that basically the 6 bridges that are already existing, the effective date to transfer those was April 1st, 21, when we signed the original relinquishment agreement. The only bridge that's subject to the November 1, 2030 transfer date is the new one that they haven't built yet, that will be ours after after the interchange project is complete. So that clarifies that issue. Our responsibility for those bridges remains in place as it has since 21. And then they're adding one more effective in 2030.
Okay.
So that clarified that.
So this amendment is for the 2021 original agreement.
It's an amendment to that
amend
agreement, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to go through that little
Oh, no,
extra.
that's
but,
all right.
yeah.
It needed to be fixed.
Yeah. Very good. Under new business, our first item is a presentation for us, and I'm going to let Commissioner Gentry introduce our guest.
Mr. President and fellow citizen, this is Henry Loop, a friend of mine. I consider him a friend from the Indiana Geological and Water Survey to something that's very important on everyone's mind is the water. And without further ado, Henry, tell us what you've got.
Should I stand up here,
Please.
the microphone, or?
Probably.
No, if you stand there,
Okay.
that's fine. And what we need is your name and address for the
Okay.
record.
Yes, my name is Henry Loop, and address would be 5001.
You can give your professional.
Oh, professional address, yeah, 5001 State Route 37 Business, Bloomington, Indiana.
Good. Thank you.
Yes,
Go right ahead.
is this okay for everybody if I stand sort of here?
You're
Okay.
fine. You're fine.
So, again, my name's Henry. I'm a research geologist with the Indiana Geological and Water Survey. And I'm here today, thanks to Bob. I did some work on Bob's property as a part of a larger effort. So I work throughout the state. Again, a geologist. I study the glacial sediments, so the unconsolidated material above the rock. And as a part of a cooperative program between the U.S. Geological Survey and the State Geological Survey at IU in Bloomington, I do geologic mapping. So I'm interested in the types of materials that are found in the state of Indiana for geology. And of course, water is hosted in those rocks or sediments, and I'll talk about that today. So this is sort of a larger sort of project, sort of in the Indianapolis metropolitan area, again, to evaluate water resources. We're not looking for anything in particular, we're just trying to provide baseline information for stakeholders, whoever that may be. So we're a non-regulatory agency, and I'll skip to the next slide to just give you a brief introduction for those of you who are not familiar with the Geological and Water Survey. Again, we're a research institute of IU in Bloomington. Very old organization, 1837, originally with Department of Conservation and then the DNR, and then became part of IU in the 90s. And as I mentioned, we're a non-regulatory agency that conducts research. We do geologic mapping throughout the state. We preserve geologic data and core, rock core and sediment core. We have a core library that anybody can come and look at the various materials that we've collected over the last 100+ years. And again, this is just information for the public to help with anything dealing with geology. So that's geologic hazards, and also just the stewardship of the geologic resources that we have in the state. So that's, most of you probably know, we have some oil and gas and coal resources in the southwest part of the state. We have water resources, of course, and also mineral resources like crushed stone, aggregate, that sort of thing. So again, we disseminate this information, maps, reports, that sort of thing on the state's geology. So specifically, sort of Bob asked me today to come to just talk about this project that we've started in Hendricks County. And this is a first step in hopefully a long-term evaluation of resources within the Indy metro area, essentially. And we're sort of started with Hendricks County because, and I'll try to explain this as succinctly as I can in a bit, but relative to Marion County, for example, the water resources here are somewhat more limited, and I'll try to explain that here. So there's two types of materials that water can be hosted in. One is just the bedrock, so think about limestones. You're all familiar with probably Indiana limestone, that's the most famous example, but we have other limestones, of course, in the state. We also have sandstones and shales, things like that that are part of the water resources of the rock itself. And then on top of the rock, we have glacial sediments. So during the last few ice ages, we've had material that's been deposited above the rock. And so actually most of the water, especially here in Hendricks County, is hosted within those glacial sediments. So these are just some maps, and again, maybe perhaps Bob can distribute this if you have more time to look at this in detail, and I'll try to give just a brief overview. But the northern 2/3, 3/4 of the state was covered by glaciers, so, and again, most of the water that we, in the Indy area, Indy metro area is within that glacial sediment. So that's what I study, and that's the focus of the project that we're doing. But just to give you a sense of where we are within the state, so we're of course west of Indy, and we're within this zone that's sort of in the light purple color. These are all rocks laid down in the ocean, and the key here is that some of these rocks hold more water than other rocks. So limestones and other rocks can hold water and transmit water. But some other rocks like shale and siltstone, they don't transmit water very well. So they're not an aquifer, not a viable source of water. So in Hendricks County, if we look at, this is what we call a stratigraphic column. So all of the rocks that were laid down over time in the county, and we can divide those up into different names. And in Hendricks County, you have mostly shales and siltstones, which are not great for, again, they don't hold a lot of water and they don't transmit a lot of water. And that's just where Hendricks County is found within the geology of the state. So that's sort of to say that in terms of bedrock geology, there's not a lot of water in beneath the surface here within the bedrock in the county. And this is just a map. Again, some of these details, if you want to ask me questions later, we can go over those details. This is just a map showing from Indianapolis over to the west, and you all recognize sort of generally where you can sort of see Hendricks County, Danville's there in the center. And it's sort of all this one, in this screen, it's sort of a light brown color with diagonal hatches. That's all the same bedrock, shale, and siltstone unit. And if we were to look at what this looks like from a geologic cross-section, so imagine like slicing the earth open and looking at it sort of like an onion on the side. So on the left side of the diagram is basically Terre Haute, and the right side is Fort Wayne, more or less. And then what you see on the vertical scale is just depth below the surface. And you can see sort of this broad, sort of arching set of different colors. Those are just different types of rocks. And then at the very, very top, relatively thin cover relative to the scale is the glacial deposits. And again, Hendricks County is there in the middle. And you can see there is a little thin cover, again, up to a couple 100 feet thick of sediments that overlie siltstone and shale. Okay. This is sort of, I've already sort of mentioned this. This is a broader view of the Illinois, Indiana, Ohio sort of area, showing you that where we are in Hendricks County, it's not a great aquifer. And this is a U.S. Geological Survey sort of a hydrogeologic map that is used by planners and counties and states to evaluate groundwater resources. So now I'm going to jump into instead of looking at the rock, I'm going to look at the material above the rock. And this is really to show you where Hendricks County is located relative to the boundaries of at least 3 different glacial advances that we've had in the state. And so we're just inside of the most recent glacial event. But in the subsurface, there are deposits of earlier events that become important in a minute. So again, I mentioned this, but the northern 2/3 of the state's covered by glacial sediment above the rock. And one of the things briefly I want to just touch on is 2 main types of sediments or material that is deposited by glaciers and is relevant for water resources. So the 2 of those are something we call till, and that's a material deposited directly by the glacier, and it has a lot of silt and clay in it, and it also has, as you can see, boulders. This is a photograph. The scale there is about 10 centimeters, so there's cobbles and boulders in there. And this is the main type of material at the surface in the county. There might be a little bit of silt at the top that's blown by the wind during the last glacial period. But this is probably the most common sediment that you'll find, glacial sediment that you'll find in the county. And the thing about this is that it has a lot of silt and clay, and so it doesn't transmit water very well. It doesn't hold a lot of water. And I wanted to show you, this is from an exposure, but a lot of times we have to take drill core and this is what we did at Bob's farm last month, or a month and a half ago. And this is a little cylinder of sediment that we're looking down on. There's a photo or lens cap for scale there. And this is what it looks like when it comes up out of the ground. And so this material, when I see it, I know that the glacier was there. And again, this material does not hold or transmit much water. On the other hand, we can have material that was transported by basically glacial meltwater, material coming off the glacier, reworking the glacial sediment and sorting it. And so we have sand and gravel, which is a really great aquifer material, holds water and water can be transmitted through it. So this is just a photograph of what it might look like in a core. The photo on the right-hand side, if it comes up, this is a core from northern Indiana. And you can see the sands and gravels, and that's a really good aquifer type material. Okay, so the last few slides here, I just want to show you sort of where Hendricks County is and relative to the water resources of counties around it. So this is just a map showing, hopefully you can see there's Marion County in the center with Hendricks and Boone and Morgan to the west. And this light tan color is this till material that we've seen. This is just the surface, okay? And so most of the county has that material. So there's, at the surface, there's not a lot of aquifers right at the surface. In contrast, if you look at Marion County, for example, you all know the White River Valley. That is a really big aquifer that goes right through the center of the county. And so that's a major source of water for Marion County. And of course, you probably know also Eagle Creek Reservoir, Geist. Those are reservoirs that the county has, of course, for water. And so Hendricks and also Boone and Hamilton counties, less so Hamilton because the White River goes through. But basically Hendricks and Boone are similar in that they don't have major valleys running through them. They don't have major aquifers at the surface. But one of the tasks that this project is trying to find is to see if there's any aquifers at depth. So we're talking, anywhere from 0 to 300 feet below the surface. Okay, so the next map I'm going to show is the same area, but instead of being the surface geology, it's actually basically the depth to the top of the rock. Okay, so the areas that are more, the purple areas are where rock is shallow. So in the southern part of the county, it's between 0 and 50 feet down to this shale and siltstone that I was mentioning. In the northern part of the county, basically north of here in Danville, there's thicker sediment that has the potential to host aquifer, but no one has really studied that in detail. And so again, that was the impetus of this project. And so just this past spring, in late March, early April, the red stars are areas where we collected sediment cores, one on Bob's property, and we went down almost 300 feet, and I'll show you the example of what we found in just a minute. But this is an ongoing study, so we're, in the fall, we're gonna drill some more holes, and the orange stars are areas where these aren't for sure, they're just sort of areas where I think we would want to go to collect additional data. One other thing I want to show is that there was a study in Marion County in the 90s that created several what we call geologic cross sections. I showed one earlier, but just to show the different layers below the surface. There's too much detail here I know to really focus on, but the different colors are representing, again, whether it's till or whether it's sand and gravel. So we can evaluate whether there's water there or not. And I have couple more slides, and I just want to show the results from the first two. We're still working on the third core that we did a month and a half ago. And you can see these are two boreholes in the ground, and the one on the left goes down 300 feet, the one on the right is about 200. We went all the way to the rock. And the gray material that's the till, again, not a great aquifer, but then the orange sort of zones in that with depth are where we do find sand and gravel, and that could potentially be a source of water. So, and sort of part of the goal for this, the ultimate goal is to try to, again, make these geologic cross sections and also potentially to view this, the geology in 3 dimensions. And so this is sort of a schematic, this is in Hendricks County, but it's sort of a schematic view of using, water well logs, the boreholes that we complete, any other geologic information that we have, to try to evaluate, again, where is there water and where isn't there water in the subsurface. And this is just that's the same cross section I just showed. So with that, I thank you for your time. And again, just to note that this is an ongoing project. Again, interested in what types of materials are present beneath the surface. And we're going to continue this through not only this fall, but the project extends for another 2 years. So, and my contact information is up there, phone number. Have any questions or anything there, feel free to contact me, so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we ask some questions
Yes,
of you?
absolutely. Yep.
And I apologize, but are you Dr. Henry Luke?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's me.
Want to make sure that we,
Oh, that's okay. You can call me Henry.
all right, thank
You
you.
can call me Henry.
Henry and Denny, that's good. All right. Part of the reason that I think you began studying up here, maybe, I don't know who invited you to come and do the study, whatever, might have been because of the project in Boone County that's called the LEAP project, and the fact that out of the Eagle Creek Reservoir, there's gonna be lines going up to that project that really will not allow access by anyone in Hendricks County. It'll just go straight up there.
Right.
So there was concern that perhaps, quote, we're gonna run out of water. And I think that was part of what's going on with this. I guess any early comments that you could make?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, I think I'm in a position also where I'm lower on the food chain, so those things always don't trickle down. I mean, I'm aware of them.
Right.
But, for example, this was not a directive for me to work in Hendricks County. I just saw the need, so I apply for these grants, again, through the federal and state cooperative partnership, and, you can see, I obviously was very familiar with the LEAP, and I know about the piping water from Eagle Creek Reservoir up, and knew that Hendricks County was relatively water limited in the sense of, again, there's not a river that you can pump water either out of or the aquifer beneath the river. So Hendricks and Boone share a lot of similar things, and that I think, the whole LEAP, they sort of, maybe they jumped the gun a little bit in terms of how much water was needed. I mean, maybe that's an understatement, I don't.
Okay.
But in terms of just how much water was needed by Lily and, all the other things that are gonna go out there. And so I thought, well, at least maybe studying Boone County is maybe I don't have that opportunity to study it because they've already done it, but I thought in Hendricks, maybe there's an opportunity to at least provide some information. Again, this is just the first step. This isn't saying, hey, there's this much water here. I sort of knew that coming in, it's, as you mentioned, there's less water here than in Marion County. But it's similar to Boone in that there might be some water, again, in these deep, especially in the northern part of the county. Pittsboro, north of Liston, north of Brownsburg, that again might be, again, I don't know all the people that in terms of people that, the water utility people in Brownsburg, Danville, Plainfield, all those, resources that are, or all those wells that are, what's the status of water quantity? I think, are you also getting water from citizens, having water to get, so that was the impetus. So I guess my first thought is that, yes, what we found so far is that, yeah, there's not a huge aquifer that we didn't know about, but that was we sort of knew that, but I think especially in the northern half of the county, we need to really do more work to just see how are these units connected in the subsurface or are they not, so.
When will your study be completed, I guess, that you've begun?
Right, so, again, I can always continue to give you updates as we go along. I mean, the project that starts, hasn't actually technically started yet. It will start probably in August. That will be 2 years, and that will sort of piggyback on the work that we did this spring. So a 2-year project, but again, that doesn't mean that I couldn't come and give updates and provide more information along the way, so.
Thank you.
Well, Henry,
Go ahead.
I think I wanted you to address the people today, and maybe we have you come back in 6 months or some, to give comfort to the people, because there are a lot of people who are nervous about, well, something goes in here, some big project, am I gonna lose my well? Am I gonna have to go deeper? Am I gonna find water? And, I think having your information there, people can contact you, but I think you staying in touch with us, or we staying in touch with you, is almost imperative to give comfort to our citizens so they can, and is there any kind of, in geologic, is there an alarm bell that goes off when, like, if a certain number of wells all go down at the same time, does that?
I mean, that's obviously a concern, and as you probably know, or most of you may know, from my understanding, Indiana is a first rights water state, meaning that you can use the water until you impact someone else,
Yes.
right? So, but in terms of that, and my understanding also is that there haven't been, since that, there haven't been very many challenges to that, only a few, some in Northwest Indiana.
Right.
That maybe you're familiar with. This was in the 80s, late 80s. So, yes, I mean, if you can demonstrate that but the key is that you have to be able to demonstrate that, right? So like you have to have either monitoring in place, like here's what the situation was before someone or some entity started pumping. And then we can monitor it over time. Well, it's really going down. And again, to your question, I don't have a great answer on how many people does it take to really, I think, and that's part of the study too, how isolated are these pockets of, there is sand and gravel, there is water down there, but how connected are they? Because if they're not connected, then it's sort of a random thing, like maybe on your farm, hey, you have plenty of water, but maybe on the farm 3 miles down, that unit is not there, and so they might have to go really deep, like 800 feet or something to get water. So it sort of depends. So I wouldn't say there's any one, threshold in terms of, well, if it impacts 3 homes or 5 homes. I mean, it's anything that's affected is important,
Okay.
of course. So
Well, thank you so much, Henry.
Any questions? Okay. Henry, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We
Yep.
appreciate and look forward to any updates as they come along. And Commissioner Gentry will probably be the contact with you, so thank you. You bet. We will let you do your thing there before we move on. So, all right. Next on our agenda are three items with our financial advisor for the county, Greg Garitas, and Financial Services Group out of Plainfield.
Actually, Financial
So,
Solutions Group.
Solutions
Everybody
Group.
keeps wanting to call it services. Maybe I
Okay.
should change the name.
Well,
But-
it's right in front of me, Greg, that says Financial Solutions, so if I would have looked, I wouldn't have said that.
Well,
So,
thank you, and good morning, sir.
You bet.
So as you know, my name is Greg Garitas. I'm a certified public accountant and also a municipal advisor in the state of Indiana. What does that mean? That means I hold 2 security licenses with the Securities Exchange Commission and the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board. What that means to you and the taxpayers is my fiduciary duty is to the county, not to underwriters, not to banks, not to anyone else. So we've been working with you, putting together the awesome, which I do have copies if anybody needs it, our awesome capital improvement plan that we've been putting together over the last year or 2. Now, as you know, in our last working group meeting, and this is where I wanted to go, and if you want me to go into any other detail, let me know. But as you know from our last meeting, the goal for the taxpayers and the county as a whole is trying to utilize the resources we have without really going after additional resources. What do I mean by that? By going after additional LIT, or which is local income tax, or other property taxes, trying to raise property taxes or things like that. So number one on our schematic design was the fairgrounds. And as you know, with your approval of some of the contracts that will be going forward today and maybe over the next month or so, we have begun that process from both a design and an engineering standpoint, and then a financial schematic design. So what we've said is we would be using the current property tax amount and extending that to be able to pay the new bonds that will be issued hopefully later this year with your approval and council's approval. And then we'll be able to do that expansion. And we'll be able to do that expansion with the same tax rate, the property tax rate that we have in effect now. And if it's not enough, the project will either come down or we will put some cash into it. But so it's a function of the whole, as you know, I have the sustainability, which is over 200 pages. So I do know your financial position very, very well. I know everything about Hendricks County, and by the way, I live and work here, so know that too. So that's working real well on the fairgrounds. On the next high priority project is the Judicial Center. The Judicial Center, we've spent a lot of time kind of looking at that and figuring out how we may be able to do a up to $90 million project for that. As you know, in the work session that we had, what we approached was we don't have a current mechanism in law that would allow us to use current resources and move forward. So we said, okay, what could we possibly change going forward to be able to accomplish this? I showed in the work group both a property tax bond and a lit supported bond. What we found is, after some discussion with specific legislators, that if we took the jail correctional facility tax and added on Judicial Center, then what I'm planning on doing, or would like to do as we go forward, is get the statute changed so we can use our current lit dollars that we have for jail correctional, because we're exceeding all estimates at this point in time in that fund, so that we could use those current resources to begin the Judicial Center project. And then as we pay off the jail bonds, then roll it in to support the Judicial Center debt. So that would mean that we would not go to the taxpayer for more lit dollars. We would use, most likely, given the budgets that we've set in the capital improvement, we would use the current dollars, and current dollars coming in on a current basis, and then be able to basically leverage those in the future. So that's the second project. Then John and I also talked about some of the roundabouts, and I have looked into that further about using the wheel tax debt portion, and we could probably get some of that going. So I'd like to say our major projects that we've got at this point in time, I think we've got a fundable source, again, with kind of reassuring the taxpayers we're not tripling the tax rates or anything like that. We're trying to use the current resources in place, let me say that a couple times, and move these projects forward, as long as they stay in budget. Now, on the Judicial Center, we need your approval to seek legislative tweaking, basically, to be able to allow that to happen, so that then that lit rate will roll into ultimately our lit rate in 2029 or 2030 or 2035, whenever that occurs, because, you know, there's always change that's going on. And then we should be able to, obviously, the county council's concerned with being able to pay payroll, light bills, and things like that. So, and I think the sustainability at this point in time shows that we're okay, we're fine on that. We just obviously got to keep an eye on it. And so we annually update that. Actually, we actually update it about 2 or 3 times a year. So I guess I'm here to answer any questions for the 3 commissioners, and I guess seek kind of momentum. So we need to get this tweak straightened out with the state legislature and get it going the sooner the better. Because if you haven't noticed, July's here, August and September is right behind it,
Right.
the last time I looked. So,
So,
questions?
questions or comments and/or,
Yes, Mr.
yeah.
Greg, you
Greg.
gave me some comfort there when you said we need to match what we want to do with the money that we're going to accrue, basically.
That's exactly what we talked about at the work session, I'm calling it. And Bob, yes, go there first before we ever ask for more dollars.
Yes. And is there an unrealized impact on library, fire, and school? I know I've been told accurately that when one school corporation does an exorbitant project, it impacts the other schools. So if we do this, are we impacting their ability to raise a tax or pass a referendum to do because schools are gonna be stuck with that? Is there an unrealized impact there?
So Bob, as you know, that I'm a municipal advisor to Plainfield Schools, so I have been for over 25 years, and I know that really well. And what we're doing here with the schematic design that we've put together, no, because we're not asking for those additional dollars. We're asking to maintain, so in my opinion, the burden would be similar, if not the same. Okay, now obviously it depends on how much AV and generates, but and it's not Ann's job, but obviously the assessed valuation comes from the auditor's office, and as long as that stays in place for the basically for the fairgrounds, it's a moot point. And then for the judicial center, the wheel tax or anything like that has no impact on things like circuit breaker or special credits.
Yeah, that's what the circuit breaker.
Yeah.
What is it?
So remember, I specialize in this area. I told you I was a CPA. I do no taxes, do no, anything like that. We specialize in government.
Does Senate Bill 1 give you any concern about the funding for the lit and the school corporations? I was told at the last benefits meeting that over 70 school corporations have already filed for a referendum. Now, it'll just be in their psychology, I guess, of what we're doing could impact them kind of metaphorically. Well, look, they're doing this. I'm going to vote against the school referendum just because it would increase my taxes.
Yeah, so
It's kind of out of our control. But
Yeah, I totally see addressing our capital needs kind of totally separate from that. And the fact that what I believe we are doing is not adding to their burden.
Okay.
But sure,
Okay.
if someone issues a ton of debt and, let's hope they have a good reason, but that's a separate issue. Does SB 1, SB 2, I call it SB 2, give me concern? Sure. They all give me concern, but that's why we stay on top of it each and every day.
Okay.
Okay? And that's why there's sometimes legislative tweaks that we have to make. As you also know, though, when the jail bonds and things like that, the state did give us, heard what we said, was that the lit has to stay in place if there is debt in place. And it has to service that debt and things like that. So actually, the legislature has been achieving their goals, but helping us with our goals.
Okay.
So I like to say, Bob, it takes a team approach. And you've got later on your MUS group that we're going to be helping with. And I think the key is go with your eyes wide open into the tunnel and act as a team. Work as a team with your state legislators and tell them the challenges, because let's face it, we're a growing county and there is a lot of capital needs both repair and future. And the key is not to burden the taxpayer anymore. And trying to do that is a very, very tough path to go. But it's not, I've done a lot of tough things in my life.
Basically, looks to me like the school's funding is outside of what we're doing anyway.
It totally is, and the referendum is totally, dependent on the taxpayers in that school district. And so, yes, you totally, in my view, you have to keep them separate. But if we're causing them more issues, then that's something, because we're the grandpa, so to speak, the grandfather, we're over everybody, so to speak, and with our tax rate and everything like that. But again, we're not trying to go down that path, and commissioners and council will know exactly before we go down that path what the ramifications are.
Thank you.
Sure.
You answered my question.
Other,
Anything else for Greg? I would say between the three of us then, I don't know if we need a motion, but maybe consensus to say to Greg and/or Greg, can we move forward with approaching legislature on changing the wording or adding wording to legislation that exists, and that we support doing that?
and that would be great, and I think ultimately we would come back probably in your next meeting and ask you to pass a resolution of some sort. If your guidance from your county attorney says that would be great, because I think that would also add momentum and help, because you don't want to go down to the state and say, well, does anybody want this? Other than the financial advisor, no. We want to make sure that's obvious, and probably wouldn't want it out of county council too.
Okay.
So that would be very good.
We're okay with that.
Absolutely.
By consensus, I guess.
Yes.
And I will add to the discussion on this, and then we'll move ahead with some other items that Greg has on our agenda. But the deal with a judicial center, the project itself, there's been help from Studio View out of Indianapolis that's helped us with space study here at the county. And they're going to meet with a task force that we have put together. And that task force, and Bob, I've got a copy of this for you so you can see who's on it. And for both
Thank you.
Brad and myself. But this task force is going to look at the location. Does a judicial center that would be planned stay in downtown Danville, or does it move to what we call the East Campus here in Hendricks County, which is out by the Hendricks County Jail that exists out there? And so that group's going to look at that, and we'll give a recommendation back to us, the commissioners. That the first meeting of that group is going to be July the 1st here in the Government Center. And we will continue on to keep planning. So that's a part of all of this that's going on as well. Greg, the next item on our agenda is an agreement for the fairgrounds bonds.
Right, that's for us to act as the municipal advisor for the fairgrounds bond. SEC requires us to have one as soon as we start kind of working on it. And then if there's any modifications, we would have to come back and talk to you about it and modify it. I don't expect that at this point in time. I believe we, again, have put together with Adam Steerwall, your bond counsel, schematic design on the timeline. We've talked to both architects and other people, and I believe the county council has given it a pretty thumbs up. And so we're ready to start the process to meet them, them being the engineering and basically people that are designing it, so that when they bid it later this year, we can award the bid and issue the bonds.
Okay.
So.
And if we approve this, assuming we will, it's my signature only, just so you guys are aware of that.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Okay. Thank you. And Greg, then,
The next agreement covers what we call the MUS group, which sure you've heard a lot about. And so we'll kind of help facilitate and work with the council and the commissioners in putting together the proposal that ultimately has to go in October to the state, which is your opinion about, or the unanimous opinion about what the lit ought to look like. And so stay tuned. I know we've talked with Ann. She got the association's data or basically workbook, and we're going to be working with her. We have our own model. We're going to kind of look at the two and run the county council, be able to run the county council some options. The options and the workbooks and all that really, to me, don't mean too much to the county, because we're going to use that county as a whole for adjusted gross income. It will be affecting more the individual towns in Hendricks County. And that will be the critical thing. And so that will be then helping to try and make this happen and get her done.
are we?
Question, Mr. President.
Yes, go ahead.
So, as you said, Greg, projecting to the state what the lit would look like.
Or basically telling them the unanimous vote of the Hendricks County group.
Okay.
I'll call it.
Are they, those small municipalities under Senate Bill 1 are gonna have to be cared for by the council.
Correct.
Is that gonna, will you take that in consideration when you're looking? at that?
Absolutely.
Okay, because that's my district, all those small towns out there, they're gonna,
Matter of fact, our model already has, basically, if we enact X rate, and what they currently have is there a deficit or a surplus, and that's what ultimately the Association of Counties document will also show. So it will show and give guidance to council about what may or may not be needed. Now, keep in mind that we're here in, last time I looked, 2026, and this gets enacted in 29. Maybe it goes back further than that. I don't know. AGI will be different, results will be different, but this will be the snapshot at this point in time.
well, and they have to have, Adam Sturwald told me the county council is gonna have to know, in every county, is gonna have to know where every citizen lives in order to move the money appropriately.
Well, bingo, obviously, Bob, you may say you live in Pittsburgh, or your mailing address may say that. Well, the answer is, it's just kind of like the wheel tax that John and I have dealt with. When you enact a Plainfield wheel tax, if you did, you gotta know exactly who's in. And so what they've been doing is geofencing. They actually geofenced Westfield, and we knew their income many years ago. And so they'll be basically doing that. They've made Ann the king of GIS. And so she's going to know exactly where you live, Bob, and exactly where your boundaries are eventually.
Well,
Okay?
Eric Watson and I have had a conversation. For Hendricks County, it's probably not that difficult, but will it hold the whole, because a lot of the smaller counties are gonna have trouble locating everybody with their GIS. Will that hold the whole plan up if they can't catch up with the more affluent counties?
Sure, Bob. Absolutely. I work with Pike County. Pike County is going to have its must meeting with itself. So, because Petersburg isn't big enough. So,
Right.
There's some rural counties like that. The must group won't take very long because they're meeting with themselves. Okay? I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but we're going to make it work.
Okay.
And so, yes, there is probably, obviously, we'll deal with that year by year.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Chair would, again, if we approve this for FSG to work with the council on the MUST group.
And commissioners.
And commissioners.
Move for approval.
Yeah,
Second.
that's what I'm looking for. And I sign this, so, All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay.
Any other
Thank you.
questions about financial? The county is doing great, and I'm really looking forward to the future here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Next on our agenda, continuing on, we've talked about it a little bit already, is the fairgrounds and a project that they have, and this is an agreement that is with Arc Design to continue work with fairgrounds on an expansion project.
Yep.
Mr. Wicker.
Gentlemen, how are you guys?
Good.
Good.
We need your name and address.
Tim Wicker, 3953 West 200 South, Danville. So yeah, what you see in front of you is the design agreement for Arc Design, which includes the mechanical, architectural, mechanical engineering, also banning for all the engineering and all that to get ready for the fairgrounds, which this money will come out. This will be done about 80% this year, give or take, will be spent this year, as they get, just basically all the bid documents done, all the design done and all that ready to go. So get some of that, to get it all bid by, in time for the bonds and all that stuff as well. But also to get banding moving so we can be moving some dirt later this year, as well. So this is what this proposal's for, is for Arc Design and the team they've got assembled, so.
There's, Tim, a question for you. There's been an amount, and you may not know the answer.
Okay.
There's been an amount paid already to Arc
Yes.
Design, I believe.
Yes.
And did we pay that, or did Fairgrounds pay that? Or,
That was a joint, it was part, the agreement was with the council, I think, was 50,000, the fairgrounds was paying for 50,
okay.
with the council paying for
Okay.
50 of that.
Okay.
And if you can see, if in
And that
Art's
comes out of
proposal,
this,
they've
right.
actually showed that credit for the fee that they've already received. They show that credit in there as well, so.
Very good. Okay. Chair would entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this agreement with Arc Design, and again, I signed that as well. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, thank you.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
And Tim, we look forward to the Hendricks County Fair.
Good deal. We look forward to seeing everybody there.
It's around the corner.
19th through the 25th, July.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is Stericycle Service Agreement. Dan Chubb,
Morning.
good morning.
What you got before you, we have to have a special agreement to get rid of our medical waste. And I'm limited to 2 vendors.
Okay.
Current vendor, we're not wanting to renew the lease or renew the agreement with them. I went out, talked to Stericycle, and we're actually with this agreement saving about $2,900 a year. Our rate's gonna go from $495 a month to basically $290 a month. So the current vendor gives us, we have to, they charge us for 10 totes, no matter if we have 2 to 10. This group will give us a bulk, and then we subtract from 80 totes a year. So if we have a month where we're only doing 2 totes, then
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this agreement with Stericycle Service. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you do. Next on our agenda is the 2026 health plan document, UMR basically, which is the subsidiary company of United Health and our TPA, right?
Yep, just
I think I
asking
said
for,
that right.
yes,
Okay.
asking for the approval for our 2026 plan document. This is something we do every year. And then we've also got, the second item is the ASA agreement. The reason that they're delayed, as always, is because we find issues usually around January or February when they submit the original, we send it back and then they have to do all the revisions. So asking for approval for both the plan document as well as the ASA agreement.
So let's take the plan document first. Need a motion on that.
Move for approval.
Second.
And moved and seconded to approve the plan document. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that's my signature there. And then look for a motion to approve the service agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Again, that's my signature there as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Next on our agenda, John Ayers, about an encroachment agreement for the Ronald Reagan Parkway.
Now, this is with Buckeye Pipeline, also known as Wood River Pipelines. We're crossing their pipeline north of Maloney Road on the new alignment of the parkway. And this is just an encroachment agreement to be able to cross their easement. Greg's reviewed it. They're in the driver's seat on these agreements, but Greg, I don't think I saw anything there we couldn't live without.
No, we're okay. And we're asking them to allow us to burden their rights. So they have protected themselves, but we're okay.
All right. Chair would entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to assign this with Buckeye Pipeline. Again, my signature on this as well. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. John, culvert design.
Earlier this year, or maybe late last year, I don't remember which, it was last year in October. We signed an agreement with Crossroad Engineers to do some design work on 6 different culvert structures that we need to replace. 2 of them, we had a pretty good idea what the structure needed to be size-wise and type-wise, so we entered into basically a final design agreement with them at that time. The other 4 needed some hydraulic analysis and some alternative analysis to determine what the most cost-effective replacement was. So we kind of signed a 2-phase agreement with them on that. One was to do preliminary design work, determine a size and type, and then they could figure out what the costs were to design the overall structure. So 2 of those structures, we've gotten to that point now, LI 015 and LI 024. 015 is on Raceway Road, north of 136, near the railroad tracks, which will be fun. LI 024 is on 350 north, and both of those, we've determined the structure type on those and know what the final design cost is going to be, and so we're asking for agreement to their original, supplemental to their original design agreement to go ahead and design those 2 structures.
And this is
Who
with
are we agreeing
Crossroads.
with?
Crossroad Engineers,
Yeah.
yes. And the dollar amounts on here include their preliminary design
Okay,
amounts, so that's a total
yeah,
amount.
okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this agreement with, or supplemental agreement with Crossroads. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is a proposed 2027 budget for the commissioners.
To submit to the auditor before the deadline, which I think is the 26th.
Oh, it's Friday, guys.
Friday.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So we were given this 2-page document that you needed really good glasses to read. Hopefully everybody has read this, memorized it. Any questions I would ask you?
I do have a comment on the
Please.
leases. That is still subject to change because this will be our first full year in 2027 of transitioning the sheriff's department over.
Okay.
So those numbers are kind of a guesstimate as we continue transitioning those over.
Yeah. But I would say a probably good guess.
Yes, it's a pretty good guesstimate. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Chair would entertain a motion.
So, see, the link, Hendricks County,
Yes.
we're contributing 10,000.
We kept it the same. We didn't change those amounts.
Say again.
We kept those amounts the same. We
Oh.
didn't change them.
Okay,
Any of the amounts for Link or Senior Services or Sycamore, we kept all of those the same.
okay.
And economic development as well, or EDP, as it's known, all of those remain the same. Yeah.
I move for approval.
I looked at that.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other questions or comments? All in favor then, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Mila, thank you. And Todd as well. I assume you had a little bit of hand in this. And Ann. Thank you. All right. Economic Development Commission appointment. reappointment. This comes from the council to us to reappoint Scott Slavens to the Economic Development Commission. Chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to reappoint Scott Slavens for another term on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you. And then
I miss my chance again. I'll not miss it
we
next year.
also have for the Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals, otherwise known as PETA-BOA. Love that term. Nikki
Yes, I
Lawson
would.
recommends that we reappoint Stan Albaugh to the PETA-BOA board.
Here for
Would
approval.
entertain-
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you very much. Comments from the floor? Please state your name and address here or anywhere else.
7722 Quail Creek Trace in Pittsboro. First off, I think it'd be nice, maybe we can get a copy of Henry's PowerPoint and put it on our county website so people could see that. It was pretty interesting.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, get more details out of it. It was pretty fascinating.
Okay.
So, we've been out of town a couple weeks, so we've been doing.
I'm looking at Henry right now and he's going thumbs up.
All right,
So,
thank you.
Okay.
That was very interesting.
Henry, if you could work with Mila and then we'll get that done. Thank you.
Sure. Been out of town, so we've been doing remote monitoring. I noticed when you had your joint meeting last week over there, it's hard to hear people in the so-called public viewing area because you were asking some questions and doing interactive. So maybe if you can work on having a mic over there or something like that, make it a little bit easier.
We did that on purpose, so
Okay.
it's hard for people to hear.
It was interesting, so. In my typical plea for bigger
Yeah.
facilities for the EOC and EMA, maybe if that could be,
Yeah.
is that something you're considering with the new judicial centers to add in? Maybe even move the 911 center in-house like I've pleaded for in the past? And you're gonna build
That's-
a rather
I would-
secure building.
I don't have to comment, but I will. I would say that's something that we'll certainly take under consideration, may or may not be considered, but we'll
Okay, yeah.
take that under consideration.
Since you're starting from scratch and gonna have that.
Right.
Also, I was in the, Jenny Aubrey helped me out with some parcel information a couple weeks ago. I want to thank her and her girls. Well, Jenny was giving me the list of like ID numbers on the list.
Okay.
And one of the girls heard the conversation and printed up a list and brought it over, so
Great.
thought that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Want to thank Dennis for getting the air conditioning fixed over in the radio trailer at the highway garage. As far as the Aries request for the repeater at the highway tower, we seem to hit an impasse. Crown Castle can't figure out what we want to do there. A guy called me last week. He's a land acquisition specialist. So if you're interested in selling, he talked to me about a half hour about that process. And I said, I don't have the authority. I just want to put a repeater in where one was a few years ago. So my thought process was maybe if council sends a letter that says, we want to amend this agreement, and if we don't hear back in 72 hours, we'll assume you're good with it, and then we can go ahead, because you already gave us permission last time. Mila's been helping me through an email chain and that kind of thing.
So the Aries group wants to put a repeater on there?
Yeah, at the highway tower. There's already an antenna.
What's holding them up?
Greg said at the last meeting that after reviewing your legal agreement with Crown Castle, apparently they have to grant permission as well as you guys. So.
Well, I'm gonna be meeting with those ham operators on
You come out Saturday? Okay, I saw the
Um,
email.
We need to work with them, however, because they don't charge the county anything,
Oh.
provide a lot of service to the
Mm-hmm.
sheriff's department and others. Whatever we need to do, then, in my opinion, we need to do it to let them put that on.
Yeah, and the antenna's already there. Racy's used to have one. Apparently they had a
Yes.
disagreement. They pulled it out. So nobody would even know if I walked in and plugged the thing in, other than maybe a $2 increase in your electric bill.
Right.
So other than that, but it's something that, Greg had recommended, so.
John, do you have any comments on adding anything to that highway tower?
Anything we add there depends on what the eventual disposition of the property is gonna be.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we
They know
handle
that.
that,
Yeah.
how we handle that lease with the tower.
And they basically said if you wanted to sell the property, they would probably do a 20-year projection of what your income would be from the rental, and then add in some increments for, CPI or whatever, and hand you a bunch of money for it.
We'll look at that.
Yeah, I don't know how you want to do that. I always like to hold on to a resource because
Sounds
they're,
like probably we're in agreement to have that added to that tower.
Yeah.
But we'll figure out how to work with them. Okay.
okay. And
Anything
then
else?
the last thing was, obviously I'm not happy with encrypting fire dispatch, and 3 weeks ago, I heard Pittsburgh and Brownsburg Fire get dispatched to a chemical spill at 1,000 North and 275 East. So
That's us.
I thought, oh my God, that's Bob. I'll call my buddy, see if he's okay. Does he need any help? So he thought, what in the heck are they doing? It's just an ammonia leak, but, so
We
things
almost
like
had a
that.
second one.
Did you?
It was nothing but an anhydrous ammonia tank leaking.
Mhm.
The valve, sometimes the valve just won't secure and it doesn't hurt it. It's on the periodic table, it's NH3. And it just goes into the air. If you get close to it, it can burn you. If you try to inhale around it, it'll take your breath away. It's dangerous if you get right close to it, but it was like 800 feet from anything.
Okay.
And it was somebody went by and saw it leaking off.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as I saw it, I knew we were in trouble.
They
That's
get
when,
that.
that's when,
Yeah, HCOM gets those from people driving down 74 and they glance over at Steel Dynamics. Oh my God, the building's on fire.
Yes.
So
And they
fortunately,
do.
the first thing our guys do now, they will say, did the facility call this in or a passing motor? So they know how to gauge their
Right.
response, but, I still gotta go, but it's
Right.
one of those things.
thanks for calling me that day, by the way.
Well, you're welcome, but I just say that's one thing that's encrypted. I won't be able to help in real time, So,
All right. Thank you, Jay. You bet. Elected officials, any comments from an elected official? Hearing none. We do have elected officials, so they just don't want to say anything. Appreciate it. All right. Staff reports. Mr. Ayers.
Most of mine are updates. The only one I would point out specifically is item 4. We do have a bridge that needs some bridge railing work, and it's beyond what we can do in-house, but it's below what we have to bid, so I'm gonna issue requests for quotes, and I know we're in discussions, and don't have one passed yet, but on a purchasing policy with some purchasing guidelines for us, but kind of trying to keep it consistent with what those guidelines may be. I just wanted to, I don't know that I need, that you need to take action on this. I'm just letting you know I'm gonna put out for quotes on this, and then I think I have to get your approval to award the quotes. I don't know if it takes consensus or any action at all to do that, but.
We're okay with that.
Okay.
We're okay with that.
Otherwise, everything is updates. We get a little frustrated on item 5. That keeps getting drug out.
Okay.
Still don't have any kind of commitments from them at all on that road. It's getting frustrating. Google.
I don't know how we can be.
I don't know either. Morgan County's getting
Yeah.
frustrated as well. At some
Yeah.
point, we post about a 5-ton weight limit on the road.
It's-
and then
it's a
we'll-
big
And start
company.
enforcing it, and then we'll get some cooperation.
They're a big company.
They're a
and-
very big company.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have the money to do this. I don't think there's gonna be a problem getting them to do things. It's a matter of getting it committed to.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you and Eric and Todd for the work on your item 7 there as well. So appreciate that. Yep. All right. Anything else for John? All right. Thank you, John. Dennis,
Morning, everyone.
good morning.
See my report, it's
How are
just
you?
updates this meeting, there's nothing extremely urgent to report, just forward progress on everything.
See if I have anything. Appreciate all that you're doing with Garmong out at the animal shelter. That's moving along very nicely and appreciate that. Yep, the floor plan as well and
Yeah, Christie and I were brainstorming, that came together pretty nice.
very good. Very good.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, thanks. Todd, Executive Director.
My report, it just contains information for you. Doesn't require any action by you.
Okay.
I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Todd on his report? I think we talked about some of the items already. Thank you. All right. Doug Morris is not with us today. He's vacation or at a meeting. He's on remotely. So Doug, we know you're watching and viewing. Hello, wherever you
Attentively.
are. Okay. All right. Next on our agenda, Greg Sturble, County Attorney. Any Commissioners, any items from?
Nothing.
Mr. President, I think, in the interest of transparency, the people need to know that the Fairgrounds project is kind of different from the 4-H fair. We have a statutory obligation to Purdue Extension, the 4-H fair, but they need to know that it's kind of a four-legged stool, that their expansion then will cause people to spend money at restaurants and hotels, and then that money will go into the innkeepers and food and beverage, and then the county council can then use that money to pay the bill. It's not, people need to understand that, I think, and they won't unless we inform them of that. And the second thing is, I just voted for something that I told myself a year ago I wouldn't.
Thank you.
The CERTA, the money we apply to CERTA, unless I'm mistaken, only works if the municipalities participate as well. Is that right, Todd?
There's an agreement where the municipalities are supposed to contribute.
And they usually don't.
Correct.
So our money just kind of goes off and I told myself I wouldn't do that. I wasn't paying close enough attention. Next year I'll pay more close attention. But it doesn't do anything because the other municipalities
You
don't.
could appeal it in front of the council when it goes before them and ask them to.
Well, I might do that then because I don't,
But you would, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bob, but you would say the CERTA program is a good program.
yes, but
It's just the other municipalities need to participate with the
and
county.
if they don't feel that
Yeah.
it's worthwhile, then
Yeah.
we need to hold our funding back until they feel like it's worth something. So
Yeah.
there,
and
I've
that-
said my piece.
And that can be a difficult situation too, because if we would hold funding back, that hurts the CERTA program itself as well. And so, yeah, okay. I'm sure that some of the municipalities that may be even in the room, and they're hearing it, so, yeah.
Well, I don't blame them at all. In
Right.
fact, I
Yeah.
highly respect their
Yeah.
decision.
Right,
'Cause it doesn't go anywhere.
yeah.
In only in very small instances. The people I represent on the west side of the county,
Yeah, yeah,
nothing.
They get zero for their.
Right, they get zero for anything.
I hear you. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? No?
Nothing, no.
All right. Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.